into the year, it seemed as if there was a surefire top 10 blue chip talent in the defensive tackle class, and then maybe another player or two that would definitely be worth a first round pick. But after the season and after the draft season process, do we still feel that way? Did this defensive tackle hold up, or did things fall apart? My name is Dirty D from the Dirty T. This is the Punk Rock NFL Draft, and we're talking defensive tackles today, interior defense alignment, rather. Guys that can play, whether it's nose tackle, 3-tech, 4-tech, 3-4 defensive end, any sort of interior position. I did leave out guys that are at least penciled in as more edge players at the moment, but there's guys that didn't make my list that I would have counted, like Tyreek Sapp. I would have counted as an interior defense alignment. I think Keldrick Falk should be an interior defense lineman, and if I was rating him so, he would have been rated higher than I had him as an edge. If you remember, my edge rankings wasn't so high on him. But we're going to talk about these guys today, and really, it did end up becoming a very disappointing year. This is a very weak interior defensive line class overall. I do think there are some really intriguing guys in that 3rd through 5th round range. And then there's guys that I was talking about. I want to give a few shout outs to people that didn't make my list that I really like that no one's talking about. Aaron Graves from Maya is one of them. I think he's pretty athletic. He's got good length, probably better in that 3-4 defensive end, kind of pseudo end tackle type of player. A little bit of 3-tech, super athletic, fast, plays really hard, could use a little more play strength, but I see a rotational NFL defensive lineman, and I know a lot of people that don't even have him ranked. It's crazy. I don't understand that. I really like Gary Smith, the third out of UCLA. Big, powerful nose tackle, plays the run really well, looked really good at the Shrine Bowl in Shrine Bowl practices. Speaking of which, Albert Regis, really big fan of, like a smaller, undersized nose tackle, good leverage, and plays the run really well. Although he tested really fucking well, didn't see that happening. Really like him. The other Texas A&M guy is interesting in that kind of 3-4 defensive end, 3-tech type of role. Really like Caleb Proctor out of Southeast Louisiana. He's someone that I have just outside my top 10, but I really, really, really like that player, and I think that he will probably need a couple years, but he definitely has the athleticism and the motor to be a potentially like a really good pass rusher in the NFL. It reminds me of Milton Williams. He's kind of gives me that feel, even though I think he's a little shorter, a little heavier too, but that type of player. And there's a lot of other guys too that did make my top 10 that I just think are really interesting players in the interior defensive line portion of the draft that I think will be NFL rotational pieces, or can be if they end up in the right spot. But we're going to get into the top 10 rankings. At number 10, I've got Chris McClellan out of Missouri. Really good size. He's a good pass rusher. He has a good pass rushing bag. Would like to have him have better leverage to be more consistent in the run game, but I think he develop into a good run defender. At number 9, I have Rayshawn Benny out of Michigan, who I just thought was a solid overall player. He's probably going to be more of that 3-tech, 3-4 defensive end role. I think McClellan, before I did mention, probably can play the 3-4 defensive end, but also play nose tackle. He has a little more alignment versatility, but I think Benny was a more solid, reliable, consistent player. Kind of boring in the best way, where he was just always kind of where he needed to be. Maybe not the most explosive guy, but he has some athleticism to him. I've got Dante Corleone out of Cincinnati coming in at number 8. I've got Daryl Jackson Jr. out of Florida State coming in at 7. Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma coming in at 6. Halton's super explosive, super twitchy. I really like the player. I think that he can be a very good pass rusher at the NFL level and just be a mismatch. He played the run well in college. The play strength and the ability to anchor and stand up, that's not his thing. He's going to be a three tech only, so he's kind of very limited in how you can use him. But if you know how to use that player, almost like a Jalen Redmond, who also went to Oklahoma, if you know how to use that player, you could get a lot out of that guy. I think he's going to be good in the NFL in the right spot. Lee Hunter at number 5, Texas Tech, nose tackle, true nose tackle, might be a 2-down player. I like some of the effort he gives in the pass rush. Sometimes when he knows plays are going away from him, he just takes some plays off. But overall, he's a very, very good run defender, very solid, very strong, glass eater mentality. I just wish he kept that up even on plays where the ball went away to the gap away from him. Sometimes the motor runs cold. But overall, really, really good run defender, and immediately is going to be a 2-down starter on rundowns and be in your rotation and probably help anchor your run defense. And number 4, I got Cade McDonald. Copy and paste everything I just said about Lee Hunter, except he's a better run defender. Although I don't think he's as good as a pass rusher, I think he has more quicks to him. I think he's a little quicker and can develop into being a little better of a pass rusher. I also do think, though, like with Hunter, like, he never takes any rundown off, but I've seen him take pass downs off. I want more of a motor on pass rushing snaps as well. But dude is maybe the best run defender in the entire draft class. Really good player. Caleb Banks at number 3. I'm going to be honest. If it wasn't for the foot injury, he'd be my number 1. I want to see more consistency, but the level of talent is a first-round talent. Like, before the second foot injury, he was firmly a first-round grade for me. And if he had played more consistent, probably would have been creeping up into a top 10 grade, right? But he wasn't quite there. But the talent was super up there. Would have been my number 1 guy, but having missed a lot of time during the year with a broken foot, breaking his foot again at the combine, even though what he did athletically with a broken foot is crazy for his size, like 6'6", 330. I don't know if he has he plays the way you want a nose tackle to play yet, but I feel like he's a guy that can give you versatility in there, and he has some nasty flashes both as a pass rusher and a run defender, but especially a pass rusher. But 330-pound men with foot issues is really concerning, so that drops him to 3. And then I have a 1 and a 2, but it's really, they're tied. I have the same grade for him. I gave because of Peter Woods' athleticism, flashes of athleticism, and I think some of what happened this year had more to do with the way teams were playing him, what went on at Clemson. I think they throwing so much screens, it didn't give him enough chance to show off his skill and his talent, and also how he was being used at Clemson. So, I gave the nod and just the number ranking to the guy with the higher upside, but Kristen Miller is a good fucking player. But Peter Woods, I was way higher on him. I was a truther. The tape wasn't what I wanted to be, but I still think he's a really talented player. You probably want him not playing like two gapping and playing the nose and playing kind of like he's not a quote unquote glass eater. He's more of a athletic move flex guy. Probably want him in like a 3-tech situation, 3-4 defensive end situation where you give him one-on-one blocks where you can take advantage of his explosiveness, his speed for the position. But I still think there's a good player in there. There is a high-end defensive tackle in there. You just got to be confident that in your system and just in general, you can get that out of him. But I want to talk more about Kristen Miller. he is so I think he's going to play more nose tackle than I thought originally. Like, he played nose tackle in college, but I thought he was like it's listed at like 305. It's like, oh, that's more of a 3 tech, but maybe gives you versatility just because he's so strong. Came in at almost 6'4", 321 pounds. That can play nose tackle. I think he's athletic enough, especially in a straight line, to play multiple, give you versatility, and to play all 3 downs, which is really big for me. Graded really well. His pass rushing, he graded better than you'd think. He was actually a pretty decent pocket pusher and would be able to disengage with blocks. He had a quote about it, though. They asked him about his pass rushing style, and he's like, I'm just going to go through your face. They don't talk, like, not enough people preach physicality anymore, and I'm here to be more physical than you, and I'm making a long day. I'm here to be more physical, and I love guys like that. I love that type of player, and he shows up on rundowns. Didn't get any sack production this year, but he did create hurries. He did beat the guy in front of him. He did push the guy in front of him into the lap of the quarterback. So he creates pass rush for other people. He's a dirty work player, and I love that. Again, good size, powerful dude, violent dude, consistent dude, very, very safe player that I feel very confident is going to be a good NFL player. I don't know that he's going to be a great one. I don't know if he's going to be one that people wear jerseys of, but his block deconstruction and his well-rounded ability and ability to play the run at a very high level and also give you something in the pass rush, that is a guy that's what helped Seattle be as good of a defense as it was. It's blocked their defensive tackles, block deconstruction on rundowns to consistently give third and long, and then be able to add to the pass rush too. So Christian Miller is a really, really good player. Really good player. Another guy that I like a lot, and I think he's really underrated. Not enough people are talking about him, especially when you talk about the Caleb Banks thing and how talented he is. There's another guy that maybe didn't put it all together as much, but has that same type of talent. To me, that's Darrell Jackson Jr. out of Florida State. Just Trevor Sikkema said it once on the NFL Stock Exchange show. He said he's built like a monster. Like when you saw him on the Shrine or even in the Senior Bowl compared to the other guys, he just looked like an alien. He looked like a freak. 6'5.5". He played at 335. He looked crazy at 315. He said he wanted to have more stamina. He feels better at playing at that weight than being at the 335 Florida State had him at. Thinks it allows him to stay more consistent. I'd be curious if a NFL weight room is like, can we get you to 325? Keeps him that strength. But he had a lot of flashes of just explosiveness, explosive power, and being able to create pass rush. Just didn't have any pass rush moves. However, he can defend the run really well. To me, that's really important. You see a potentially good pass rusher there, but you already know he's a good run defender. 8.9 run stop rate. He isn't just clogging up the holes, which is a big part of it. He's not just sealing off. He's not just doing dirty work. He's actually making tackles with those 35-inch arms, which is insane length. And it gives him a bigger radius to grab and wrap people up. 11-inch hands, violent knockback power. This is someone to bet on. If you want to bet on a guy past round or the end of round 2, that's where I would take him personally. In that late second round area, I targeted him for the Falcons in a sim I did. I would target him for the Raiders if he was there at 67 and they haven't already taken a defensive tackle. The Bears, I think he'd be a really good fit there if you didn't get one in the first round. The Vikings, if you didn't get one in the first round, I think he's a really good, really talented football player. I don't know if he's quite as consistent as a Lee Hunter, which is why I have Lee Hunter ahead of him, but he has more juice and a higher ceiling as a 3-down player than Lee Hunter. Now, when we talk about these types of nose tackles and guys that, they're with limited pass rush ability, maybe they have more to offer as a pass rusher. Someone that a lot of people really like is Dominique Orange, aka Big Citrus. And to me, I didn't like him as much. I thought he was overrated. I think that he can develop into a rotational, maybe even a starter. There's things there to like, but he had more length than I thought he would. Over 34-inch arms, it's great. 322 pounds, that's great. But and you can see it in the grades. I mean, he was decent as a pass rusher for that type of player. He's definitely like a nose tackle type. He's probably I saw somewhere that he apparently ran like a 5.3 40-yard dash, but I don't know if that was confirmed. I know he didn't run. I think he ran at his pro day or at the combine, so I don't know where he would have ran that. He's got big, powerful hands, but he does one thing, and that's just crash violently into the guy ahead of him. And he does that on rundowns, he does that on pass downs. Because of that, he can sometimes create displacement and push guys into the lap of the quarterback. He might be able to do that in the NFL a little bit, and that's great. That has some value, but he's not like he's kind of creating pressure in the way that Christian Miller does, but Christian Miller does it more with actually beating the guy and getting after, creating sacks for other people. I don't think Dominique Orange did that quite as much. He does a little bit of that though, but not enough for me to be like, oh yeah, that's a reason to draft him in the second, third round. And then why I don't like him as much as a couple of these other types of players is because he was not a good run defender. He would just try to create displacement. He would sometimes get reckless, bull in a china shop. Sometimes he'd end up on the ground. He'd, overshoot gaps. He wouldn't, there's no block deconstruction. He'd almost create a running lane for guys. He just wasn't a good run defender. Sure. Can you teach him that? Yeah, but I'd rather start with this player that as a baseline as a good run defender. It reminds me of Neil Farrell out of LSU, who the Raiders took, and I don't even think he's in the league or he's on someone's practice squad. And I think Dominique Orange is more talented than that guy, but that type of player is what it reminds me of, who was just billed as this nose tackle that's going to be able to stop the run, and then because of the way he stopped the run, it didn't translate. Like, he didn't even do it well in college, and it's going to be harder to, sure, you can bully guys in the Big 12. Are you going to do that in the NFL, especially if you're not maintaining gap integrity, if you're just being reckless and all over the place? That's a guy I don't think you can play year one, even rotationally, maybe every now and again. But more often than not, you're going to want guys that you can count on more in the run game. And I think he's a better pass rusher than a run defender. And it's not like he's a good pass rusher. He's just got an explosive bull rush. It's kind of all he's doing. And that doesn't work in the NFL. It's the same reason Darrell Jackson, you can say the same thing about, but Darrell Jackson, year one, he's probably not a 3-down player. It's year 2, 3 you're hoping he is. Dominique Orange is not even a 2-down player right now. So I'm not nearly as high on him as everyone else is. That's why I had him ranked out of my top 10. And it's why I had, again, if we're going to have that same conversation, the player that I think is like the biggest, there's the most variance, the biggest kind of, I don't want to say bust factor, but more so just it could go all over the place, is Dante Corleone. And we'll make this a quick conversation because I have one more player I want to talk about, which will be a very quick conversation. But Dante Corleone, the Godfather, another great nickname, just like Big Citrus. To me, if you like a big nickname guy, it should be the Godfather. And he's super squat. He built like a bowling ball, under 6'1", 340 pounds. And he's super explosive. He's got short arms. He doesn't have a lot of length. So, when he offers pass rush, it's the same thing. He's not going to get after and sack guys. And because of his limited length, he's not even going to be making tackles in the run game. That's not how he thrives. How he thrives is just not only eating up blocks, but driving people, muddying up, maintaining gap integrity. You're not moving him off his spot. He will move people back. He will get after the guy. He will force running backs to have to cut where they don't want to. He's an excellent run defender. He's a really good run defender. He plays with a super high motor. He is someone that can play on rundowns day one. The only question is health. There's a lot of health stuff over the draft season. That kind of lingering hamstring issue kept him out of everything. But sorry, I got an alarm going off. Kept him out of everything but the Shrine Bowl. And but in Shrine Bowl practices, he went against Brian Parker, that I think is an NFL center, and he was the only player to like beat him. And he just, every person he went against just knocked him back, just blew him up. And there's that explosive, violent power. And so that translates. It's just, can he stay healthy? And there was that, he missed time, not last year, but the year before, with like a blood clot issue. Those are things that are going to be big with Corleone. If the medicals don't check out, he very well could be a late day 3, if not undrafted player, if you're like, we're just worried about the medical stuff. If not, I think he should be a 3rd round player. Probably goes in the 4th round. I'd take him the 3rd. And again, if you need that nose tackle, especially if you run like a 3-4 base, if you're going to have times where you're going to have a nose tackle just 0 teching or 1 teching, Corleone is a great player for that mold. And then the last player I want to talk about really quickly is Uar Bernard, the International Pathway Program player. This guy has not played any organized football at all. So it's a quick conversation. None. 0. Just a couple camps. But he might be the greatest athlete to ever be a prospect as a defensive tackle. 6'4.5", 306 pounds, like 6% body fat, 5% body fat, something crazy like that. Almost 36-inch arms, 11-inch hands. And so they talk about like, they'll do like a thing they show you at the combine. Oh, the average 10-yard split on their 40-yard dash of a guy, like a top 10 player at this position, top 10 sack artist, and 158 10-yard split was the number for that for edge players. And that's what he ran at 306 pounds. Defensive tackle was 1.7. That's over a tenth of a second faster than that. 4.63. I think that's the fastest that at least true defensive tackle, or someone that's built like a true defensive tackle over 300 pounds, probably has ever ran. Those are insane numbers. Add the 39-inch vertical, add the 10-10 broad jump. That's unlike an athlete we've ever seen personally. If you have an open spot for the IPP and you feel like you can trust he's not going to get poached, take him, stash him. If you want to keep, like the Raiders, for example, I like Laki Tassi, although I'd be open to letting Laki Tassi potentially make the roster. But if he doesn't, I'll keep him in IPP, and I'll find something for this fucking absolute freak to do to be on my active roster. I don't give a fuck what it is. It's just have him on fucking blocking kicks, defense, with those long ass arms. Just play him on special teams. Make him teach him how to take a snap and have him run tush push. Fucking make him a fullback. Do some fullback dives with him every now and again. Like, damn, make him the biggest gunner you've ever seen. Can he return kicks? I don't know. We could teach him. And I'm half kidding, obviously. I'm probably kidding. But anyway, that type of freak athlete, I would find a way to have on my team. Let him develop. If he can just learn a little bit of football, if he can be okay at the football part, he's so freakishly athletic that it just might be too much for guys. As long as he has the determination, work ethic, and hunger and mentality to do it, you gotta make sure you can figure out if he has those things, but you might as well bring him in and see what he can do. That's it for my time today. My name is Dirty D from Dirty T. This is the Punk Rock NFL Draft, signing off.